Pepper Young's Family. Pepper Young's Family is the true-to-life story of your friends, the Youngs. We'll be with them in just a moment after this message. When Curt Bradley proudly announced at the dinner table that he and Nancy Wayne were going to be married, everyone was delighted, except for one person, Curt's son, Biff. Biff rushed out of the house, and although it's getting late, he hasn't yet returned. Apparently, Biff is more upset than his father realized. And so Curt and Sam Young are driving around the darkened streets of Elmwood, looking for Biff. Sam tries to be reassuring.
10-1, Curt. By the time we get back, Biff will be home and in bed.
I don't think so.
Well, I do. Even if he has visions of himself being self-supporting and cutting loose from you, he's too smart to give his hand away. Just as Shani said, he'll come home for the next few days as though nothing were up, and then when you leave for Chicago, he'll cut school and go to work. That is, he would have if Shani hadn't come around and spilled the beans.
That was darn nice of him.
Yes, it was, wasn't it?
I had a feeling Biff was going to take a desperate step when we parted.
Well, I haven't had a chance to ask you what he said.
Well, Sam, it was almost as though it wasn't Biff talking at all.
Oh, what do you mean?
Well, he was so unreasonable. He was so darned impertinent. Now, you know Biff's never been like that.
Well, now, look, Curt, he was not for a loop when he heard you were going to marry again.
I suppose so. But he must have suspected I was more than casually interested in Nancy to bring her here. He must have had time to absorb that fact.
Yes, but absorbing a fact and hearing the confirmation of it are two different things. He just couldn't take it, that's all.
Well, I blame myself for telling him so bluntly. I was clumsy about it, Sam. I was darn clumsy.
Oh, now, look, he'll get over it. Just give him time.
Well, I don't know. He said a lot of things to me, Sam, that showed me how deep his hurt went. How much he resented my marrying Nancy.
Yes, he does resent it, but what of it, Curt? She's a fine girl, and she'll be able to win Biff around in time.
Well, I hope so. It'll be tough for her if he keeps up his present attitude. Sam, do you know what he said to me?
No, what?
He said no matter what she did, he didn't want any love from her. He said he didn't want anything from her ever.
Well, he thinks he means it, but he doesn't. He's just jealous, that's all. Somebody's come between you. He can't understand why.
The young idiot had the nerve to say that it was all right for kids to marry, but it wasn't right for people of my age.
Oh, Curt, you know that they look on us as having one foot in the grave.
Yes. Sam, what am I going to do?
Well, when we round him up, I'll talk to him.
No, I don't mean that. I mean about Nancy. It's not fair to saddle her with such a kid, to wish somebody on her at the very start of her life with me who's so full of resentment.
Now, look, let Nancy work it out in her own way. I'll bet on her. Biff's a man. He'll eventually fall for the good meals and the cozy home and the mothering. You just watch him.
And you think I ought to take him right back to Chicago with me when we marry and see how it works?
Well, of course. The longer you let him wait here, the harder it'll be.
Well, maybe you're right.
Oh, I know I'm right. Oh, now, look, Curt, it isn't an ideal setup, of course. Kids that age can be darn cantankerous. Nancy's going to have a hard row to hoe. But if you're patient with him, Curt...
Patient with him? I'd like to wring his neck.
No, you wouldn't. Now, I said if you're patient and let Nancy get in her work without praising it unduly, why, Biff will come around, sure. I'm sure he will. Now, look, he's got a good heart. He'll be touched by her efforts long before he lets you see he is. It'll work out, Curt. I know it will.
I wish I did. I never expected anything like this.
Now, look, all three of you are going to be happy. And Nancy's going to learn a lot about boys Biff's age before she's through.
Yes, bless her heart. And I wanted it all to be so perfect for her. Yes, and Biff mentioned my having another family.
Another family?
Your children.
Say, that's right. You may have.
No, I won't. I told Biff that. I promised him he'd be my only son.
Oh, you're crazy. What about Nancy? Don't you suppose she wants babies?
Nancy? Well, I don't know. I didn't think about her wanting them.
Well, think about her then. She's a normal young woman, isn't she?
Yes, of course, naturally.
Then she wants children.
But, well, that's one thing that would really make Biff sore if I had another child.
Get out. He'd be crazy about the ones they got here. It's only because he's afraid of losing your affection, Curt, that he's acting like this. Just let him be assured of your love and understanding. Make him feel secure again, and you'll see how he'll behave.
I certainly hope you're right.
I'm right, and I know it. Say, where do we think we're going, riding around and around like this? Look, I vote we go home. I'm sure he'll be there by now.
Well, let's telephone back to the house and see.
Well, yeah, that's an idea. There's a drugstore right over there. We'll call from there.
We'll be back with the Youngs in a moment after this message.
Mary, this is Curt. Is Biff home? Oh, he is home. Well, that's fine. Sam, you're right. He's home.
I thought so.
Well, am I glad to hear that. What's that, Mary? You think he's home? You mean you don't know? Well, yes, Sam and I thought we'd like to make sure. Do you mind looking in Pepper's room? He may have gone to sleep in there. He says he was to sleep on the couch tonight, but he's probably going to sleep in Pepper's room.
Oh, that's where he is without a doubt.
What's that, Mary? He's not there. He hasn't come home. Look, Mary, what's the name of this girl he's been paying so much attention to? Gloria? Or Gloria what? Uh-huh. And where does she live? Yes, I'll hold the wire.
But, Curt, the girl's asleep, don't you remember?
Yes, I know all that. Wait a second. Yes? On Willow Street. 143 Willow, in an apartment building. All right, Mary, thanks. What? Yes, I am worried. Of course I'm worried. Oh, has she gone up to bed? Well, that's good. We'll call back in a little while just to find out whether or not he's home. Come on, Sam.
Well, come on where?
To 143 Willow Street.
Well, now, what for? That girl's been asleep for hours.
I know all that.
Well, then what the deuce are we...
I'm sure he went to see her tonight. That's the first place he'd go, isn't it? And I'm sure if he did, he told her where he's spending the night. And that's what I want to find out. And she's the only one who knows the answer.
Say, maybe you're right.
I've got to be. I've got to find him tonight.
Take it easy, Curt.
I've got to talk to him. Sam, this thing, he's taking it like this. It's got me down.
Now, look, don't take it too seriously, Curt. Kids fly off the handle like that, and Biff's no exception.
Willow Street's right near here, isn't it?
Yes, just a few minutes' walk, and, well, we can leave the car parked right where it is.
Sam?
Yeah?
Biff's such an intense kid. You don't suppose... I mean, he wouldn't, do anything desperate, you think?
Biff? Of course not. The idea. Besides, didn't Shanny tell you that he was coming to work for him on Monday?
Yes, I know all that, but that might be a blind. That might be something just to throw us off the track. He'd know we'd be sure to check him as far as Shanny's. That'd give him time to...
To what?
Well, to go someplace far off where it might be hard to find him. Sam, he asked me why parents brought kids into the world and then forgot them. He said he was going away. He said he'd spoil everything.
Now, look, Curt, all he meant was that he was going away for the evening for a little while.
Well, maybe I am a fool, Mary, my age.
Now, Curt, cut that out, will you? You don't mean that.
Well, I don't know what I mean right now. If marrying Nancy means driving Biff away from me, making a breach that nothing can heal...
You'd give up Nancy, is that it?
I don't know. I swear I don't know, Sam.
Well, I do. You'll marry Nancy and thank your lucky star she isn't here to listen to such twaddle.
Well, she's so much younger than I am.
Well, what of it? She loves you, doesn't she? Well, you know she does. And a fine life you'd have if you threw over a swell girl like Nancy Wayne and spent the rest of your life catering to Biff. Well, now what would happen? In a few years, he'll be married himself. He'll start his own family. And then where will you be? Holding the bag. And all the years you and Nancy could have been so happy together would have slipped by into the discard. Now, you don't owe it to yourself alone, Curt, to go through with this marriage. You owe it to that girl who's crazy about you. And you owe it to Biff, too. Go ahead, Curt, and give him the kind of life, the kind of home he's always needed. Don't let his fireworks scare you. Don't let him do what so many kids have done by raising the roof the minute a father or mother suggested getting married again. Go ahead and live your own life. And believe me, Biff will fall into line. He's bound to.
As Curt walks wearily along, he wonders if Sam is right. If you're a parent, have you a right to go ahead and live your own life? Or is your first obligation to your children? And now a message from our sponsor. Tomorrow, Nancy Wayne accidentally overhears a conversation about Biff. Be sure to join us on Pepper Young's Family. John Scott speaking. Pepper Young's Family is a modern drama production.